Greetings fellow tank commanders. In this video I'm going to be showing you a game that I played with the Deathstalker M46 Patton. This is a tier 8 American premium medium tank with regular matchmaking, and I will also be giving my first impression of this tank. The game I'm playing is a standard battle on live oaks with tier 8 as the top tier. My team has 1 artillery and the enemy has 2. This was my first game with the Deathstalker and I really lucked out with the matchmaking. There's only 1 tier 8 on each team, a few tier 7s, and a whole lot of tier 6s. It's the perfect way to get used to using a new tank. For this game, my tank is equipped with a gun rammer, vertical stabilizer, and coated optics. I am using an American crew which has 19 crew skills and perks. I've gone off to the railroad track flank where I know there's a lot of ridge lines I can use, which is ideal terrain for this tank to fight on. This Skoda is just way overextended here, and that gives me an easy shot to start off the game. I'm going to quickly pop over this ridge and see what we're dealing with here. That's a lot of enemies to deal with, so I'm going to reposition so I can get some better shots. The part of the hill off to my right, where it's a little more of a gradual slope, helps make sure that I get shots on the enemy without exposing too much of my tank. One of the great things about this tank is its accuracy on the move, and so that really helps with snapshot ridgeline fighting like this, which you have to do with the Deathstalker because its turret armor is not going to bounce very many shots. It's not going to happen very often, so just try to dodge as many of the shots as possible. Or you can just wait for the enemies to shoot or become distracted with someone else and then make your move. We're getting some medium range distance fighting here to test out this gun. It's got a 0.38 accuracy, which on a 90mm cannon isn't that great, but when you take into account its ability to make more reliable snapshots, it ends up evening out. I decided to run Cola with my Deathstalker. I don't have Cola on my Patton KR, which is very similar to the Deathstalker, and since the Deathstalker has a higher rate of fire, I decided to use the Cola to up that offensive potential to just specialize the tank a little more. So far it's been a worthwhile investment, and it hasn't had too much of an impact on the silver earning potential. So we've cleaned up this flank here pretty good, so now I'm going to start moving forward. It was tempting with such great matchmaking to just go really aggressive, but these M46 Pattons are really soft targets for enemies to shoot at, and so I didn't want to take a whole bunch of damage early on in the game. That way I can be more aggressive in the mid to late game, when it's ideal for a medium tank to make an assault move. Now the mobility for the Deathstalker is quite good. It's got a 48km top speed, a 17.5 horsepower to ton ratio, a 33 degree per second hull traverse speed, and a turret traverse speed of 38 degrees per second. That will easily match your tank's mobility. So you're not going to be going flying around the map with this tank, but it's more than enough to get you in position, roll up and down hills, repositioning to different flanks, and even just outmaneuvering enemies in close quarters. It's got enough flexibility to do all those medium tank roles. Just don't overestimate it. My team is doing great overall here. We got some momentum in the early game and we are just carrying it. Alright, with that light tank down, that's my 4th kill of the game, and this flank is pretty much clear. We now have the remaining enemies surrounded in the field by their base, and so since I have so many hit points left still, I'm just driving right in the open here. I don't really care if I get hit here, I'm just going for those extra damaging shots. It's really unlikely that the enemy would be able to destroy me fast enough here, because my team is just trampling the enemy. I got a nice finishing shot on what appears to be an AFK OI. And one nice lead on a fleeing artillery, but unfortunately he goes down into a dip. Now here we're shooting this TVP at just over 400 meters. The accuracy really isn't that great at this distance. It's acceptable for this situation, but you shouldn't make it a habit to fight at this distance when you're playing the Deathstalker. In this game I didn't get to fight any well-armored targets. This tank can handle fighting a lot of tier 8 and 9 heavy tanks, but the penetration from the premium rounds are lacking, so you're going to have to be flexible with your strategies when you're fighting enemies like type 4s or any tier 10 heavy tank, because you're not going to be doing much in a head-on engagement, and most of the time that's not the job of a tier 8 medium tank anyways. Now let's check the post-game stats and see how I did. For this game, I earned 117,000 silver without any multipliers and 5,456 experience with the 2x daily bonus. In this game, I dealt 3,007 damage, assisted with 1,272 damage, and destroyed 7 enemies while blocking 135 damage. This earned me High Caliber, Mastery Badge Ace Tanker, Top Gun, and Devastator. I'm happy with those results considering this was my first game, and I was glad I was able to take advantage of such great matchmaking. I placed at the top of my team, earning a base XP of 1,732. I managed to hit 20 of my 25 shots and penetrate 16 of those. I'm happy with that reliability considering I was doing quite a bit of snapshotting. In terms of crew and module damage, I damaged the ammunition in the SU-100, damaged the fuel tank in the T-150, and damaged the engine and fuel tank in the TVP VTU. Overall, my first impression of the Deathstalker M46 Patton has been a good one. It's got good mobility and a 390 meter V range, which allows it to fill all those classic medium tank roles. It does have a little less horsepower than the Patton KR, but that's in exchange for a slightly higher rate of fire, which in my opinion is a good trade, because it allows you to be more active and rip apart those light and medium armored vehicles even faster. I like its accuracy on the move, which isn't as great as the Patton KR, but it is still very good. The Deathstalker is going to be best for players that like to be flexible with their medium tank tactics. If you like to be one of those annoying players that peeks over ridge lines, barely showing your turret, shooting and disappearing before the enemy even knows what's happening, then the Deathstalker is going to be a good pick for you. Now this tank's got a 57% silver earning bonus. On average, it'll make some pretty good silver, and this tank definitely doesn't need the large kits or the cola that I was running this game, and so if you cut those out, your silver earning potential will go up even further. But don't be afraid when you come across those tougher targets to switch to your premium rounds. You're far better off having a reliable performance, because when the enemy hits you, they're most likely going to damage you. So don't worry about spending a little silver to make those trades worth it. I hope you enjoyed seeing my first game with the Deathstalker M46 Patton, and that you found my first impression helpful. Stay tuned for more awesome World of Tanks videos.